Across the windswept plains, silence stretched endlessly, the kind that swallowed words whole and left a person questioning whether they'd ever spoken at all. Beneath a canopy of stars hanging low like burning embers, only two sounds dared intrude: the restless whisper of prairie grass dancing in the breeze, and the rhythmic creak of an oil lamp swaying beside a weathered cabin door. Within those timber walls, Silas Ward hunched near the fading embers, shoulders curved inward as one weathered hand traced the ridges of the other's scars, as though endless friction might smooth away the marks left by years of labor. His seat, a relic carved from pine by paternal hands decades past, had molded itself to accommodate a soul grown accustomed to solitude. There was a time when Silas possessed laughter. Before the merciless seasons stole his crops, before tragedy claimed his brother and burdened him with the weight of twin homesteads haunted by memory, joy had lived in his voice. Yet the wilderness keeps its own ledger, and his account ran deeper in red than most. Down at Deadwood Crossing, tongues wagged with certainty. The man bore a hex. Some claimed no bride could endure his company. Others insisted his livestock perished at unnatural rates, that soil turned to dust wherever his shadow fell. None dared voice these theories within earshot, but whispers have wings, and he collected their harsh verdicts like thorns embedded beneath flesh. He convinced himself their opinions held no power. Still, when darkness stretched thin and sleep proved elusive, doubt crept in. Perhaps the vast grassland had simply worn him down through sheer persistence. On one such evening, with spring rain riding sharp winds, she appeared. Clara May Holloway materialized at the crossroads, her heavy coat clinging desperately while moisture darkened her skirt's edges. No lantern guided her path. Only scripture clutched against her heart as though its sacred weight might provide stability. Sheets of rain blurred her outline until she seemed more spirit than substance. Silas drew his mount to stillness, touching his hat's brim. "You'll perish standing there," he called, his words crackling from months of minimal use. She startled, blinking through the deluge, and he witnessed grief's deep etchings across her features. "Death waits everywhere for me," came her reply, fragile yet unwavering. He dismounted, mud-coating his leather boots. They remained frozen in that moment, storm winds wrapping them like burial cloth. Then he gestured toward the cabin's distant warmth. "Better shelter waits inside," Clara wavered. The settlement's matrons had painted Silas Ward with cautionary strokes, treating a man's isolation like infectious disease. But what alternatives remained? Her husband's grave held barely 3 months' worth of earth. A livestock dispute had stripped her of everything save crushing debt, and a reputation half the town wished buried alongside him. She felt each slammed door from that week, heard every hushed condemnation, widow, jinxed, misfortune incarnate. Scripture trembled between her fingers. She moved forward. Within the cabin's embrace, cedar smoke and aged timber perfumed the air. Silas struck flame to another lamp, shadows dancing across log walls. He indicated the fireside seat. She settled cautiously, as though uncertain the furniture would welcome her presence. Vapor rose from dampened fabric in ghostly spirals. "Clara May Holloway," she announced after lengthy quiet, as if naming herself might somehow root her to this place. Silas acknowledged with a subtle nod. "Silas Ward." He filled a metal cup with water, placing it within her grasp. They maintained wordless vigil, listening as the tempest hammered against glass panes. Dawn revealed prairie mud gleaming under crystal sky. Clara woke early, smoothing her hair in movements more ceremonial than cosmetic. She anticipated dismissal, yet Silas extended weathered work gloves instead. "Assuming you plan to contribute," he said. "The back boundary needs repair." She stared at him, then at the offered gloves. "You expect labor from me?" His shoulders lifted slightly. "Better than wall-gazing, I reckon." Thus their routine began. Clara fumbled initially. Her hands knew domestic duties, not ranch work. But learning came swiftly. She twisted wire, hauled water, herded strays. Silas offered sparse guidance, correcting through gesture more than speech. Evenings found them sharing meals across the same table, quiet filling voids where joy might have once thrived. The settlement took notice. Within 14 days, speculation spread like wildfire. At the general store, women pursed disapproving lips. "Already cohabitating. A fresh widow," without decency. Saloon patrons chuckled over poker hands. Ward finally landed himself female company. Took the cursed widow. Fitting pair, those two. Gossip traveled with prairie fire's speed. Clara caught fragments during supply runs. Once, drawing water from the community well, two proper ladies raised their voices deliberately. She'll never birth him offspring. Mark my words, some women carry barrenness in their very essence. That one wears sorrow like it's woven through her soul. Clara lowered her bucket with steady composure, though her chest blazed internally. Returning to the ranch, she labored until blisters formed, unwilling to reveal how deeply their cruelty wounded. He observed regardless, noting how she lingered outdoors past sunset, studying horizons with gazes too heavy for her years. One twilight, he discovered her at the livestock pen, arms wrapped protectively around herself. "They believe I came to ensnare you," she whispered, voice taut as wire. Silas braced against the fence rail, expression masked by gathering dusk. "People believe many falsehoods." Her breathing wavered. "I never sought this burden, this humiliation, this chatter." He truly saw her then, not the gossip's phantom, but a woman forged from resilience, too young for such profound grief. "Neither did I," he replied quietly. The words offered no solace, yet they settled between them like mutual comprehension. As temperatures climbed, one evening found Clara drowsing beside the hearth. Silas rose silently, draping a woolen wrap across her shoulders. Her eyes opened, finding his. Neither stirred, suspended in silence pregnant not with vacancy but recognition. She lowered her gaze, fingers clutching fabric, while he returned to his seat wordlessly. Love hadn't bloomed. Not yet. This was mere survival, discovering companionship's contours. But even survival could stumble. Exhaustion and stress overwhelmed Clara until illness seized her. She attempted rising to demonstrate strength, but her body refused cooperation. Silas maintained vigil through feverish nights, replacing cooling cloths with hands unaccustomed to such gentleness. He recalled the town's cruel labels, cursed, sterile, and felt rage kindle within his chest. When her fever lifted, Clara wept, not from frailty, but from carrying unbearable weight. Through her tears, Silas understood truth. She possessed no other soul, and perhaps never would. He didn't voice this realization, but something fundamental shifted inside him. Then came the morning she staggered from the barn, ashen and shaking, hands pressed to her abdomen. Silas approached, concern sharpening his tone. I was ignorant," she stammered. "I assumed it was exhaustion or illness, but it's not." Her eyes widened with mingled terror and amazement. "Silas, I'm carrying a child." The revelation fell like pebbles into motionless water, creating ripples through the space between them. For an instant he remained frozen. Then understanding dawned, accompanied by memories of every township whisper. The hexed widow, the barren woman, the shameless girl. All mistaken. She harbored new life. Clara's palm trembled against her dress. "It happened before his death. My husband. No one thought I was capable." Her voice fractured as she bit back tears. Silas stepped closer, face unreadable yet eyes burning with unnamed intensity. She braced for condemnation, for mockery, but he spoke only in low, measured tones. "Then the rumor mongers have lost their footing." Her breath caught. She searched his features for cruelty but discovered only solemn certainty. Yet beyond their shelter, prairie winds already carried whispered news. Information traveled faster than rain across parched earth. By sunset, the entire settlement would know. Clara Holloway, the widow, had grown round with child beneath Silas Ward's roof.